having been a consultant for people who have opened and operated restaurants, I'm always imploring them, like, you need more money than you think. Don't go into anything undercapitalized. It's the quickest way to failure. Yet I found myself way undercapitalized as I went to open. So I hit every route, you know. I started reaching out to banks. I started to see what the SBA process was like. I went through the entire SBA process. There's a small business organization in Jersey City that helps you along. And let me just say, there are two things that banks don't like: unproven business models and restaurants. And I was doing both of them, right? So it was pretty much hard nose for the most part from a lot of different organizations. I had some personal savings, which I used to start. Pretty much like most of my life savings I used. I was kind of all in. I was able to secure a loan. And this is a warning for everybody on the loan process. So I was approved for a loan at a certain number, and I based that budget off that number and made plans and everything off that number. Well, what I didn't realize is that that needs to go through underwriters and X, Y, and Z and multiple approvals. And by the time that final check was actually cut to me, I got about 65% of what I thought I was originally going to be getting. So that really was a challenge. I ended up doing a Kickstarter campaign before we even opened the door, just to make sure that we had enough, you know, money to get our doors open. So, you know, again, it was hard. It was hard for the first, honestly, couple years. I didn't pay myself for our first 2 years of operation. You know, even when we had money, it was going back into the business to buy something, fix something, do something. So yeah, fundraising is hard. You definitely need to start earlier than you think. You need to try to raise more money than you think. You need to talk to more people than you think. So yes, you're going to be underfunded unless you get really, really lucky and try to figure out how to make it work. And again, that was part of my model too, was like, we didn't have a lot of overhead, right? Like small kitchen, small staff, manageable business, so that, like, you know, even when we had bad months, it's different than running a bar or a nightclub. When you have a bad month, you could lose $50,000 in a bar or nightclub, right? We're a pretty small operation, so, you know, the downside of what we could lose is a little bit different in that.
Right. That's it's so funny you said, you know, you have the two things that banks don't like.
Correct.
Like, what was how did you work through that? How did you process that? Like, what was, I mean, there's one thing to take rejection, but it's another thing to, you know, you went through so many different financing phases. How did you
If anything, it sharpened the tools, you know, like every time you talk to different people, right? Some have zero restaurant experience or knowledge. Some have some are real estate people, you know, like people have different areas of expertise. So what I did find was, even if people didn't quite understand what I was doing, it was interesting to them. And then they would give me their feedback. So it would like sharpen either the pitch that I had, or like even thinking about ways of the concept. It forced me to like put together super detailed business plans and budgets. It forced me to call around for multiple quotes from people and estimates. So it definitely, while it was a horrible process and not fun at all, it definitely, you know, sharpened the weapons at my disposal, and probably helped me pitch 3 years later, where I have now found an investor who's, you know, involved in the business and is going to help us open up more units. So again, 3 years earlier, pitching and getting told no all the time, and like, this is crazy, what are you doing? To the world shifts, ghost kitchens and takeout and delivery becomes more, you know, more known in the world, and the pitch is sharp. What I need to say, what people are looking for, you know, is easier for me.
Awesome. No, man, that's incredible, because I think one of the challenges is, one, not knowing where to start, but then also, how do you deal with that first no? And I think taking that and trying to convert it into proper feedback, and as you said, sharpen your tool, I think is really, really, really smart and good advice.